For 25 years, Cristina Mittermeier has been taking pictures showcasing the delicate balance between human life and healthy ecosystems. Late last year, a polar bear caught the world's attention, and Cristina's photographs helped make headlines, prompting a conversation worldwide. Here to show us some of her work and the stories behind them is photojournalist Cristina Mittermeier. Thank you so much for being here today.
It's such a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Cristina, I want to start with something that you've said before. You said, quote, "Images can help us understand the urgency many photographers feel to protect wild places." Talk to me about the responsibility you feel when you pick up your camera.
As somebody who's in the front lines of nature conservation, I'm out there, I can see firsthand what's happening, and my job is to convey that urgency to people that live in the city, that they don't see nature every day.
As someone who has been on the front lines, as you say, for 25 years, is this a battle that is being won or lost for Nature Conservancy?
We're losing this battle,
Yeah.
and in a big time. Since I graduated university 25 years ago, we've lost 90% of the big fish. We're killing 100 million sharks a year. We've lost half of the coral reefs, and despite what President Trump says, the polar ice caps are not expanding, they're retracting.
And yet you persevere. Why is that?
Because we live on this planet,
Yeah.
and we have nowhere else to go, and I have children, and I would love for them to be in a living planet.
I want to talk about one other thing that you said. In all your work around the world, you talk about enoughness and how it can bring communities together. What is enoughness?
Enoughness is just simply to have a personal metric for finding fulfillment in something other than stuff. The more stuff we have, the more empty we feel, the more inadequate we feel. And if you just take the time to connect with nature, with each other, with your language, with your culture, tradition, that will fill you up, with something that feels so much better than stuff.
Well, let's connect with one of your pictures, one of your favorite photographs. Can we pull this one up? Bubble gum in the Amazon, is that what it's called?
Oh, this one, yeah.
So what is the story here?
This happens in one of the highland villages in Papua New Guinea, which is the big island on top of Australia. Until the 1930s, nobody knew that people were living there in the Stone Age. About 1 million people speaking 600 different languages. And every year they come together in a festival they call the Sing Sing to see who's the most culturally intact. And so they put together an incredible show. So very few foreigners, very few tourists, and a lot of performers doing amazing things. And I didn't give them the gum. I'm a parent, I don't do gum, but they had it and they started popping bubbles, and it's just so much fun.
And how were you received when you walked in?
They want to have their picture taken. They're so proud of their culture, and I always want to show people in a dignified way, not as museum specimens, but as living cultures. So.
All right, well, let's get to a picture that has a little bit of Canadian content to it in British Columbia. Where is it? Let's see. Where is it? There we go.
Yeah.
Jellyfish in British Columbia. Wow.
I'm becoming Canadian. I live on Vancouver Island, and this egg yolk jellyfish happened to be right in front of my house. And I love this over-under technique because it allows you to have a little voyeuristic look into what lies beneath the thin blue line. And it's amazing,
How did you see that? How did you see the jellyfish? Were you taking a swim and then you saw this?
We had been on assignment for 6 weeks photographing orcas and humpbacks, and I wanted this picture for a long time. So when I saw the jellyfish, I just got in the water. And British Columbia has incredibly fast currents, almost dangerous. And so I got in the water, and the current just started dragging the two of us, the jellyfish and I, with a plankton.
All right, from the jellyfish, we have to move to the polar bear.
Yeah.
The polar bear imagery. So this was chosen as one of your pictures were chosen as one of Time Magazine's top 10 of the year in 2017. Yeah. And your photos were taken at the same time as that video that captured the attention around the world. What did you witness?
So, when we're out there in the Arctic, we're always trying to figure out a way to tell the story of climate change. Climate change is like a slow-moving tsunami. It's difficult to encapsulate what it means. And we didn't know if this polar bear in particular was dying of starvation because of climate change, but we wanted to make a point to say, in the future, if the Arctic continues to warm at the rate it is, this is what polar bears are going to be experiencing. And it was devastating to witness this.
Well, that's what I was going to ask, because as people sitting in the comfort of their own homes or on their computers at work, we saw this, and we were, I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. What did you feel being just feet away from this poor animal?
It was awful, and the entire team that was with me, I could hear everybody behind me crying when this animal got up and tried to walk. Because they're so majestic, and they're one of our favorite animals, polar bears, and to see an animal experiencing this type of pain was brutal.
Did you know when you were there that this was something that could start a conversation, that could galvanize, could be a catalyst for perhaps greater change and mobilization?
You know, I knew that it was going to have an impact. I had no idea that it was going to go viral, that it was going to create a global debate. And a lot of people were devastated. They asked, you know, why didn't you feed it? Why didn't you take it to the vet? That tells me that people know very little about Arctic ecology and just how remote these places are. As a journalist, what I was trying to do is to prevent this from happening to the 25,000 polar bears we have left on this planet.
Cristina, thank you so much for sharing your images and the stories behind them this morning. We appreciate it.
It's an honor. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And if you live in the Toronto area and you want to see Cristina at Roy Thomson Hall, you can find all the details at our website, yourmorning.ca.